Hello, hello. I know I haven't really posted much here in a long time in terms of longer videos, and most recently my longer videos have been Let's Plays or live stream recordings of Let's Plays and not really art that much. But yeah, for now I think I'd just like to go with the flow and do what feels right or what's the most fun or what I feel the most need to do, and I felt like sharing some art again. No promises that it's gonna be a regular occurrence from now on, but maybe a video every once in a while won't hurt. Just like this one. This was a commission I did back in July, and only now I really got around to editing it. Today, as of me recording this audio, it's November 20th, 2025. So almost half a year since I felt the need to start making art videos again and me actually getting around to doing it. So yeah, that gives you an idea of how much my attention span is jumping around from one project to another. And I think that's also why I started this channel with sharing a lot of art and sharing a lot of gaming. Then in between sharing nothing. Yeah, I think I'm far from having everything figured out what I really want to do with my art in the terms of sharing it, because I think I have a little bit of a problem where I'm on the one hand too much of a perfectionist with what I do and then get burnt out, or I too strongly look at what others do and try to emulate this, but my brain works differently than other people's brains rather. And I like, everyone has such a different life, and it's stupid, to be honest, to compare yourself so much with what others do. And so I'm kind of trying to embrace just doing my own thing more again, and this is why we're here now. And hence me doing this little voiceover, because I think I did that in some of my last art videos too, where I just talked a bit about my process and my day, and I don't even really remember much what I talked about. I think it must have been something like that, because I remember writing a long script sometime. Like, I stumbled over it some time ago again. I was like, yeah, right. I used to do that, or at least I wanted to do that. Maybe I'm completely misremembering too, and I never actually did that. I didn't actually look into my old videos. Because sometimes then I also feel sad because another thing that I didn't pull through, another project that I didn't finish from start to finish. So yeah, that also sucks. So yeah, anyway, here I'm just rambling a lot currently, but I of course also hope that someone watching this will still get a little takeaway from what I'm saying and what I'm doing. And I'm also always happy to answer art related questions or general life related questions, even though I'm probably not the best to ask for advice on how to plan your time or your projects or whatnot. So yeah, enough ramblings, back to the art. Yeah, and I wanted to do a little voiceover because it's also something I did in the last art videos I shared here, if I recall correctly, but those were pretty long, if I recall correctly too, so I'm letting this play very sped up, because I don't think anyone has the time to really sit through 2 hours of me rambling about whatever. Maybe some people do, and maybe some people would enjoy that, but I currently do not enjoy recording a 2-hour voiceover, so I'm just gonna do a short one with a very sped up video here. And yeah, talk a bit about my process, I guess. But my process is really always the same. As you saw in the beginning, I started the draft for this in Procreate. You will see it pop up in the background now and then, because the way I did it, I had this draft in Procreate, and then I show this to my commission. Did I mention this is a commission? I think I did. A commission I did back in July, and the way I do this is I make a sketch in Procreate. I have an easier time sketching in Procreate on my iPad than in Photoshop, but I prefer doing all the heavy-duty detail work in Photoshop. I've also been dabbling a little bit in Affinity, with that being out and free now. But I haven't really painted anything big yet, just been playing around a little bit, so we shall see if maybe my process will change a bit after all. And then what I did here is put my draft, which was a JPEG or a PNG or something like that, and then I kept cutting out whatever portion of the drawing I wanted to work on, like the character or the cats. I cut them out and then rendered them there in place with a little more details. And I also made little like color palettes for like all the different portions of the painting, because when I'm painting like this, I sometimes run into yet another trap of mixing my colors too much, and then everything turns muddy and so I try to somewhat adhere to little color palettes here and there. And yeah, as I said about 3 or 4 times now, this was a commission, and the person who commissioned me is a friend, and the drawing itself was a birthday gift for yet another mutual friend of ours. So these are my favorite types of commissions, and the only surprises that I like is where I can surprise someone else. But yeah, I don't get to do that many tarot card illustrations because admittedly they are among my bigger and more expensive commission styles that I offer. Yeah, I'm completely aware that what I'm doing here, somewhat for a living, somewhat professionally with my art of fictional characters mostly, is a luxury good in this economy. And even more so, I'm super, super grateful to everyone who approaches me with an idea for a big piece like this. In most cases, my clients will have saved up for what they want me to draw for them for quite some time, and I do not take that for granted. Yeah, that's like, it's still a bit surreal sometimes, and always a little bit of a highlight when I get to work on something big like this. And I wish I could do it more and could do all of this full time, creating, handcrafting real art with real meaning for my clients. That's the good shit. So, stuff like this here. I guess this is also something very specific to the tarot card style paintings, is I always get to sit down with my clients in the beginning and really get to know the character or characters that I get to draw on a very detailed level. Because sometimes we still gotta figure out what tarot card is gonna be the most fitting. In this case, my client knew it already. That they wanted the death tarot card for this character, because death is kind of a theme in his life. Yeah, and then it's all about, okay, what's the character's backstory, what symbolism is maybe already present in different tarot card designs in different decks, what are elements that reappear everywhere, like for example in the very classical tarot, the weight, what's it called, Radar weight tarot, something like that. Death is, I think if I'm not completely mistaken now, person on a horse. Well, death arriving on a horse. And so, since this is a futuristic setting, like this is a Cyberpunk OC, we replaced the horse with a bike, of course. Modern horse. And I'm still always a little bit intimidated by drawing very mechanical, technical things, because there is so many details, so many geometric shapes and sharp lines and edges and whatnot, which is not at all where I'm coming from art-wise. Having done mostly fantasy, really, or yeah, people and animal art. So machinery is still a little bit intimidating, but I'm getting better at it, I think. It's also one of the things that I'm very, very grateful for, that I got dragged into this fandom, to the cyberpunk setting, is that I get pushed out of my comfort zone a little bit more and more with every drawing. Yeah, what you'll also see me doing occasionally is tracing here and there, like the tattoos, for example. Because and like the bike, I also traced the bike from a screenshot, and then painted over that a little bit later on to really get it accurate and get it right and save some time in the process. Because yeah, I could sit down and just paint it from a reference image, but that also would take a lot longer, and time is money, and capitalism sucks. So I feel like to speed up the process a little bit while still giving everything my own, like putting my own stamp on it. It's a good compromise to trace some stuff here and there, even for commissions. But still, I like to do them somewhat by hand, by using screenshots and whatnot as a guideline. I think in the beginning you probably also saw, even though it's very sped up, that I traced the bike that he's sitting on. I traced his face from a screenshot just to speed up the process a little bit, to keep myself sane somewhat, to really capture the likeness of the character. And also, like, these types of illustrations are amongst my most expensive ones, because they do still take a while. Even if I trace some details like the tattoo here, it still takes some time, and time is money. I hate capitalism. I would love to just do this for free, really, because I really enjoy it. There's something very meditative about drawing tattoos like that. But yeah, I really enjoy it, and I hate that I need money to eat food and pay rent. But yeah, I am so grateful for everyone, to everyone who commissions me for huge pieces like this. And yeah, I know a lot of people who approach me with their ideas for this save up for quite some time to be able to afford this, and that is crazy that people would do that. But yeah, I'm super thankful and happy about it, that people like my stuff enough to do that, and allow me to spend my time drawing something cool like this. I love drawing tarot cards in particular, because there is so much detail and so much symbolism and whatnot to think about. So many details and so many layers. I've been better about naming my layers. Not in Procreate, because in Procreate it's annoying, but in Photoshop I try to somewhat name my layers appropriately. Do not look at... These ones aren't named currently, but normally I'm good at naming them. I hope you can't... Oh, maybe I don't hope you can't hear my cat purring, but she's lying here. giving me moral support for this. I'm not sure if I will manage to do this in one take or if I'll do another one and cut it all together in the end. But as you can tell, very Japanese, Japanese traditional tattoos. That's not a sentence. But he's a Japanese character of Japanese heritage. Has the according tattoos, has a bit of a background in crime, as most cyberpunk characters probably do. And if you're familiar with the lore of Cyberpunk 2077, he's had some connections to the Tiger Claws gang. But apart from that part of his history and background, what was actually more important to this drawing and to the client as well was showcasing hopefulness. Because this character managed to escape this dark part of his history. And so we definitely wanted to include some hopeful elements to an otherwise probably rather gloomy looking illustration. But then even the original death card can also symbolize new beginnings. And yeah, what better symbol of new beginnings and hope than the rising sun? And of course, as mentioned, the bike. It's helping me overcome my fear of drawing mechanical, technical things. And like, I have such huge respect for prop designers, prop artists in video games, because like to create something like that looks like it could be a real thing, that is realistic in the sense that, yeah, I believe that this is a machine that works, even if realistically it might not exist exactly like that. Yeah, that is just really, really cool to be able to do something like that and think up all these tiny details that actually make sense, because that requires some technical understanding, at least. I imagine it would need to. Obviously, if you look at the painting as a whole, the main focus is, of course, our character, his tattoos, everything that's in the general area of his face. And then the further away I get from the composition, the less details there are gonna be. So like the sun is very vague and stylized. The city skyline is very stylized in the back. The bike is, I guess, somewhat detailed. And I especially wanted to make the lighting look cool, like the red glowy lines, because they the color red makes an appearance here and there, as you can see, as a little bit of a theme too. But yeah, overall, the further away I am from the focal point, the less details I try to, or the less, not the less details, but the less fine details I put, and a little more vague it's looking. And here, very sneaky, the 13 in the lantern for the Major Arcana card. And this is really the finishing touches now. Only the flowers left and some details in the background. And I always tell my clients, the more details you give me, the better, because then I can create a more accurate depiction of your vision. But of course, I also like it when a client is like, no idea, go wild. That can be fun too. But yeah, generally the way I work, I also in between show my clients iterations of what I'm working on, especially on something as big as this, to get some feedback and to make adjustments as I go. But I also always tell them, like, if the drawing is finished and you're not happy about some detail, please just tell me, because most changes aren't a big deal. For example, as you'll see in a moment, I made the cat too dark. So making the cat a little bit brighter in the end was a request by the client here, and I always make sure that in the end they are happy with the final drawing. And I'd much rather they tell me if they're not happy about something. I'm not offended. Than them trying to be polite and not telling me and being secretly unhappy with my work. That would definitely be the worst outcome. So do tell me if you want me to change something even when the drawing is finished. It's no trouble in most cases. And even when it's trouble I like to have. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. And maybe if I post more art videos again, who knows, it's not sure yet. I'd like to welcome you back, and until then, wish you a good time. Bye.